Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to come on here and do an interesting little video discussion on the new kind of feud, maybe. I don't know if it's a feud, but it's kind of an interesting kind of topic in the music kind of sphere, and that is kind of the blocking of the number one kind of album in the UK. And there's been a lot of talk about kind of Taylor Swift with all her variants and all of this stuff trying to block Charli XCX, who just released her new album Brat, of the number one spot. And I do think this is an interesting kind of topic to kind of talk about, because I do kind of think that the kind of variants and making a bunch of different versions of your album to kind of sell, whether that be cassettes, vinyl, anything other than that. Like, I've seen she even does like phone memos, something like that, to kind of boost her sales. And I do find it ridiculously uncanny that before she was set to go number one, Brat was supposed to go to number one, there was kind of a new variant released for the UK only. I've been reading this kind of article, and basically Taylor Swift released new UK exclusive editions of the Tortured Poets Department on Thursday afternoon, featuring live recordings and acoustic versions of songs which are only available for sale until 12 o'clock or 11:59 Thursday evening, the end of the chart tracking. And I find this very, very interesting, because, I mean, I feel like obviously variants are going to happen. There's different vinyls, different cassettes, but I think that this kind of album rollout has just been going on for way too long. I feel like Taylor Swift needs to realize that this song, or this album in general, wasn't very strong, and that she needs to kind of stop trying to milk the success, because were it not for the extra variants of this album, I feel like obviously this would have plunged a little bit further down. Obviously, she's Taylor Swift, so of course it's still going to be successful, but I feel like she's just trying to milk the success at this point, and I feel like none of this is natural. Compared to Charli's, where it was natural, there was not a whole lot of variants. There was a deluxe version of Brat, obviously, but I don't know if that's really a variant, or like something that you could totally say is meant for the charts, because there was already rumors that Guess and Spring Breakers was on the album, and to kind of add those as a way to kind of add more hype is kind of a strategy that every artist uses, but I do find it very kind of uncanny that she would release new UK versions of the Tortured Poets Department right before it was set to track, kind of making it so that Charli wouldn't get the number one. And I just, like, I don't know. I don't mind when artists try to do variants and stuff of that, but at this point, 50 variants is way too much. And it's at the point where, like, obviously Taylor Swift knows whatever she makes is going to do well. She has that big of a fan base, and no matter what she does, people are going to buy it. No matter how kind of lazy the songwriting is, people are going to buy it. And Charli's kind of album was something that was kind of unexpected. People were not expecting the amount of hype over Brat. Brat has been very, very successful compared to Charli's, and it was number 3 this week on the Billboard charts. And again, there was a surge in the US charts on Billboard because of this as well. I think she released new general editions for worldwide as well, and I just find it so. It's obviously really, really what's the word? I'm trying to think of a perfect word to use for this, but it's just not, it's not a good look. Like, I know Taylor Swift's fans are going to look at this and be like, oh, this, every artist does this, but do they? Do they really make this much variance? Like, obviously, different versions of vinyls are going to occur, but at this point, the extra variance, it's just, I don't know if it's needed. Let me know the kind of opinion you have on this, but I do think it's really, really, it's just lazy. And in general, I think it's something that needs to stop in the kind of music industry. I think every artist does create variance for the purpose of kind of milking their success. And yeah, Charlie's would have went number one had it not been for this surge. And I do find it super funny that Taylor Swift released new UK versions before Charlie was set to go number one. I think people can argue all they want how, oh, this was like not on purpose or at all because, you know, this and that. You know, obviously, the more you try to look at it, the more kind of interesting it sort of looks. I don't really understand the point of this, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this, but I don't like it. As a whole in the music industry, I don't like it at all. I feel like just I don't know. Like, Charlie's success was so natural. She kind of had the TikTok kind of success, and then she had the artistry, and the other artists helped to kind of back her up, and kind of revitalized the club pop sphere. I feel like we're going to see a lot more kind of new kind of directions from all sorts of pop artists trying to maybe replicate Charlie's style, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like revitalizing club pop music and kind of more experimental pop like this is always a good thing, and I feel like Charlie has always been kind of reinventing kind of pop music, and I feel like right now it's just kind of coming around to kind of the entire world that, wow, Charlie is really doing something that is totally unique and totally different compared to everyone else. And this is why I wanted to go over it, because I also wanted to kind of explain how good of an album I think Brat is, but just how kind of lazy and how just kind of boring I feel the songwriting is on Tortured Poets Department. I feel like it's getting to the point where it's not out of love anymore. It's not like out of love for music in Taylor Swift's heart anymore. I feel like she just wants to keep pumping out music on music on music, to the point where it just doesn't feel like, this has been something that's so kind of heartfelt to me, because, you know, I really liked Folklore, I really liked Evermore, but now every single year there's been what? The kind of... Okay, I want to get into another thing here, because I also hate the idea of this, and I don't really see anyone really talking about it, but I really think it's important. I don't like that we are doing kind of recordings of former songs. Like, I feel like it's acceptable for older artists. Like, I've seen ABBA and, like, Michael Jackson, if he was still alive, or, like, just older artists, like, songs that have been released in the 80s, released in the 90s, that they've come in to do a remastered re-recording of kind of the current production and how that kind of older song would sound nowadays. But I feel like Taylor Swift's music is not old or kind of dated enough to justify re-recording songs. Like, we're getting to the point, like, when was 1989 released? Was it 10 years ago? Was it even 10 years ago? I feel like that's such a lazy thing to re-record your songs that, in my opinion, either sound worse or practically the same. It's just, I don't know. I don't see a point to re-recording songs the exact same way 10 years ago. Maybe 30 years down the line we realize, oh wow, this sounds really dated. How about we kind of reinvent the cycle and try and maybe change the production and add things that are kind of more relevant in today's world. But that was still 10 years ago. 1989 was released when? 2014? And now she is going to release, I think, a new Taylor's version of her album past that. Right? What was the album after 1989? Hold on. Yeah, 1989 was released in 2014. Reputation was in 2017, and there's already talks about that being released very, very soon. I don't like that. 2017 was what? Or was like 7 years ago? We don't need to re-record songs that have been out for 7 years. Reputation is still, while it's not the greatest album in the world, there's still songs that kind of do not sound dated at all. They still sound fresh. You know, there's no need to re-record these songs. I think it's fine to release songs that have been from that era because she's done that before, but re-recording those sounds and those being eligible for Grammys and other awards, that's another thing. I do not think it should be allowed that she can get more awards for albums that are practically the same that she's re-recorded like 10 years ago. I think that's a little crazy. That's another topic, maybe for another day, but again, I just find this whole thing totally wild, and I think, in general, this needs to stop the milking of the success, because I feel like, I don't know, like, we need to prioritize strong artistry, and what this album is, I don't think it's strong artistry. I think at this point, obviously, she is kind of using her fan base, like, oh, I'm gonna release everything that I can, even if it's, like, I'm me farting on an iPhone, because I know my fan base is going to eat it up. And at this point, I think that's what is happening. I feel like Taylor needs to take a break for about a year or two, maybe even longer, please, and just kind of let her kind of artistry soak in, because I know Taylor is talented. She knows how to make good songs. It's just like the pumping out and releasing of songs. We got to get this out quick because people are starving. And yeah, it's just at this point where it's just lazy, be like, quick. No. Take a breather, make good songs that are going to make your albums do way better, and yeah, it's just like, how much recording can one artist do? And obviously that's too much, to the point where it just doesn't sound good. She needs more time to kind of go over her songs and be like, oh, let's kind of master this so it sounds good. Let's think about this for a year or two. Let it soak. I mean, like, this sounds like I'm hating Taylor Swift, but it's easy to kind of, I don't know, it's easy to judge this kind of, the way that this is happening. It's just very easy, because, again, how can you not kind of be angry at this? Like, the success, obviously, she is very successful, and I love to see it. But it's just, obviously, there's going to be some judgment there when you're releasing not great stuff and variants are coming out of your ass, to the point where it's just not, it's clearly for show and not like, again, the Tortured Poets Department is supposed to be, like, authentic and poetic. There's nothing quite poetic about this kind of milking the success. I mean, this era in general has been going on for way too long. I feel like this era could have stopped at any moment, and no one would have blinked an eye, but she's just trying to pump the kind of juices of this era alive, and it's not, for most people, it's not really working for her fan base. I mean, that's another story, but let me know your opinions on this. I'm going to side with Charlie XCX just because I think the artistry is better. I like the album a lot more. I have not heard the Tortured Poets Department in full, just because the songs that I've heard just sound bland, and the production is, the lyricism, the production is not as good as I want it to be. And this is kind of why I wanted to make this video, just because I find it ironic that Charlie's been kind of made this kind of new wheel for herself, reinventing club pop, experimental pop, and now that Taylor's going to lose her number one, be like, oh, we got to make this, we got to do this, so we can get a number one again. It's just, I don't know, does it really need to happen? Does it really need to happen? Yeah, let me know your opinion on this. I totally went on a longer rant than needed, but I felt that it was warranted. Let me know what opinions you agree with or disagree with. I know it's easy to disagree with my takes on Taylor Swift, but I don't know, because I really like her music. It's just easy to kind of dunk on. It's easy to dunk on. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy more of these kind of music discussion videos, because I would like to do these more, kind of go over my thoughts on today's music instead of just reacting blindly to this, because I feel like it's important. But yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe there's some feud between Taylor and Charlie that I don't know, but they used to be friends, so I don't know. But Brat, this is my thing. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but yeah, I bought this because, yeah, and I have other things over in the corner of Charlie. But yeah, Brat is album of the year in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, maybe controversial, don't know. See ya. Bye.